going to bring you now a heartbreaking story away from what has been happening in the commissions of inquiry, including the EDA committee. Let's talk about what is troubling this country as well. 8 pupils from Milnerton, this is the high school in Cape Town, they've been suspended following an assault. It follows a viral video that was shared online, which shows a group of boys beating a 16-year-old schoolmate repeatedly with a belt, hockey sticks and other items. The Western Cape Education Department saying the move is aimed at ensuring a fair disciplinary process and protecting other pupils as investigations continue. The authorities are urging the public to stop circulating the footage of the incident, warning that it harms those affected even more. All right, let's try and discuss this now, and we are joined by Justice Desk Africa CEO Jessica Dewhurst and the Western Cape ANC's Khalid Saeed, and we're also joined by Joy Maimela, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education. To all of my guests, thank you very much for making time for this important discussion. Can I start with you, Jessica, because the understanding is that you were part of a meeting that would have taken place today, and in that meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, it included the Education Department in the Western Cape. And I took notice of what they said about the 8 pupils who are suspended right now, that they will still have the opportunity to write their exams even though they are on suspension. Question is, what about the fellow learner that they beat to the pulp? Will he be able to write his exams?
Thanks so much for having us. We were all really disappointed when we were given the opportunity to meet with the principal and I think, legal counsel. There was no one there from the department. We've been trying to get hold of anyone really to ask for some clarity, and no one has been responding. But when it comes to the school itself, they read a statement that is the one they already released to the public. They said that they would not answer any questions. We asked them anyway, because we said you have a responsibility to speak to us. All they would say was that, yes, the accused are going to be fully supported for them as they write their exams. We asked for clarity as to, okay, what about the victims? They didn't respond. And they just kept repeating, we need to speak to the department because they are not allowing the school to talk. It was very frustrating, incredibly frustrating, because a lot of people have been waiting the entire day. I don't think these are difficult questions to answer. I think these are questions that the public deserves. And, seeing parents, seeing students, seeing former students, seeing, aunts and uncles, everyone is standing outside. And the reason that they're there is because they want answers. Are their children safe in that school?
Yeah.
And I think the answer, sorry, we can't answer, is simply not good enough.
Did you establish, quickly before I get to the other guests, were you able to establish whether Milnerton High School has a bullying policy in place?
They said that they have put measures in place. When we questioned as to what are these measures, they kept saying the department is not allowing us to talk. This is policy, this is procedure. And it honestly, to be honest, I think it was more of an attempt to pretend that people are wanting to respond to the public, but I think everything is being kept under wraps. They haven't mentioned to us anything about an anti-bullying policy. We even offered as Justice Desk Africa we said, listen, let's work together. But clearly there's a culture problem here, a culture of violence in your school, because this isn't the first incident that's happened. We had past pupils outside telling me that a student was slapped in the face by another student, and another student was telling me that she was called a monkey. And when when this was reported, they were just told, nah, just maybe keep your distance from those students. This is what a student told me outside the school today. And so I think that, I think that to be honest, I think there's a lot of pointing, this person has the answers, this person has the answers, and there's not a lot of accountability. And the community's tired. The community's sick and tired of it, because these are our children. We want to know if they're safe. And I think the most damning aspect for me was when we just said, we need to know the kids are safe. What is in place that can make us feel safe right now? The kids we're sending to the school are safe. And same response, please speak to the department, because we've been instructed not to talk. And I think it's not good enough. It's not good enough. In a country that says that we protect children, that children are our number one priority, we can't say that if we don't actually practice what we preach. And violence in schools, it's a national crisis. It's going on across the country. But I think this in particular, I think because this is something that has been recurring at the school, and something that people for a long time have been asking for change in regards to. I think this is hopefully going to be a turning point, but I really urge the department needs to start reaching out and start responding to nonprofits and start giving people answers, because people aren't going to wait anymore.
Khalid Said, you are from the ANC. You basically sit in the opposition benches at the Western Cape Legislature. This is a boy, we understand, who is recovering from cancer. He has just beaten cancer. And for him to be attacked in this way, are you satisfied with how the Western Cape Education Department is handling matters here?
Thank you very much. And let me also start by thanking Newzroom Afrika for covering this matter. In fact, we saw the Newzroom Afrika crew at the school from the start of the protest right till the very end. This is what we need from our media, to cover human suffering, to highlight issues facing our learners. So yesterday, actually, the Department of Education in the Western Cape, led by MEC Mania, tabled the annual report. And I, as the leader of the opposition, I also serve on the Standing Committee on Education. We raised this particular issue sharply because the video broke out yesterday. I received the information on Monday, because this is an incident that happened last week. I think it's important for viewers to know that it happened last week, and the school was aware of it last week already. There's correspondence from the school to parents in that effect. And we raised the matter sharply. What was very disappointing was that the department itself, because now we are hearing from Jessica, and I know Jessica went in and engaged, that the response of the governing body and the principal was that no. The department said that no, they can't speak. We must speak to the department. The department refused to give us as public reps. I posed the question. The member of the Patriotic Alliance raised an issue as well, and other colleagues. Nothing was responded to. The department just says, no, the school is handling it. We've got full confidence in the school and their handling of the matter. Now, quite frankly, this points to, and we can track not only Milnerton High School, but many schools in the Western Cape, particularly former Model C schools. They are treated like islands. They are protected by the department, especially when it comes, and I'm not going to call this bullying. This is criminality. This is criminality. A minor was attacked and abused. They protect the schools. They allow the cover of processes. They use processes and various protocols that they make up along the way to basically cover up and to shield transparency. So I think that's the issue. That's at play. We are not satisfied. Why is it that only after the video went viral, and we're not saying that the video should have gone viral, no. Only after it went viral, only after it was raised in the legislature and there was parents and there were community members at the school till late yesterday, and the National Assembly Portfolio Committee chair intervened and engaged as well, and NGOs like Jessica and others. Why is it that only after that did the school temporarily suspend these alleged perpetrators? This should have happened from the very onset. The video evidence is clear, and the investigation cannot be taking so long. So this points to a systemic problem. But I want to just say, and yes, we're talking about the department, and rightfully so. It's a systemic problem. But also, what does this say about our society? The parents of these alleged perpetrators, we've not heard them. They should have come out in the spirit of humanity to say, you know what our children did was wrong. We take full responsibility. Where did we go wrong? What can we do to walk hand in hand with the parents, with the learner who was affected, with this cancer patient?
Yeah.
What can we do to correct and to assist and provide a solution? That's the kind of society that we need to build. That's the kind of Western Cape that we want to build.
Joy Maimela, you are the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education. I want to borrow from Khalid's last few sentences before he stopped. And he says this is a criminality. This is not bullying, this is criminality. And if the parents of these boys that have done this are committed to basic values of humanity, they should be out there saying, we're sorry for what has happened. What is your stance as a committee? What are you going to do about this?
Well, thank you very much for having us. And of course, we want to actually share our frustrations about the behavior and the conduct of the department in the Western Cape, especially as it relates to being transparent about information relating to this incident. Safe to say that this is an experience we have all the time. Whenever we engage with the Department of Basic Education in this province, this is the kind of behavior and conduct that you will reach. You will not get transparency, you will not get information. And given that we've tried to get information about the whereabouts of the learner that is concerned, the parents, so that we can even visit the parents, so that we can say to them, you're not alone. Where we are seated, our engagements with the Department of Basic Education nationally, we've had discussions about the anti-bullying policies generally in all our schools, because it's true, these incidents of bullying, of violence, of criminality are actually rising in our schools. And we've had an engagement with DBE to say, what are your comprehensive policies in the schools and what kind of campaigns are you running where you engage both parents, all stakeholders and SGBs on how do we deal with this sketch of just violence? I mean, it's just violence. So our stance really is that we really agree with the Honorable Khalid from the Western Cape legislation that it is really disappointing that the parents of the perpetrators are not coming to the table. And where we are seated, we need to actually show or set this incident as an example. There must be an example that is set by this incident. Those perpetrators, those young people that decided that they're going to be so violent and so barbaric towards another learner should be brought to book. And we did ask if there has been a police case has been opened, because this is a criminal offense. And we're told by the MEC that indeed there is, but he did not give us details as to who opened the case. And how are they supporting the family and the police to ensure that those perpetrators are brought to book? And I agree with Jessica wholeheartedly that why would you be concerned about the perpetrator's writing exam and you're not concerned about the victim, this young person who's been humiliated in this manner, who is in pain, who's been violated in this manner? So I think where we're seated and our stance is that, and what we're going to do about it, we are planning to do an oversight visit to that school by tomorrow as a portfolio committee, because we want to get the facts. We're getting the facts from the department. I believe that they're not transparent. They're not fully transparent on exactly what is transpiring and what they're going to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book. And just to say, just like Jessica said, in our interaction with this department, in many instances, we've even commissioned an investigation in all our schools as it relates to racial profiling of learners as it pertains to placements and admission, because there's many issues. There's many issues about transparency, about just basic humanity towards parents and towards all stakeholders using the department.
Okay. Jessica, let's bring you back into the conversation. Please paint a picture of what we are dealing with here, I'm listening now to Joy Maimela, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education, saying that there is racial profiling in the placement of pupils at this school, or perhaps she's taking it broader and say these schools in the Western Cape. What is the general demographic profile of this school? And when you say this is not the first incident of its kind, what other issues have there been? Is there something that we are not aware of as members of the public that we should now be alive to about Milnerton High School?
I think the best people to speak to would be past pupils of the school, and many of them are coming forward now and talking about the culture of violence that is at the school. I don't like using the word bullying because I think it sounds very childish. This isn't bullying. This is physical and emotional abuse. And so other students have come out and said that they feel like they haven't been safe at the school, and that certain students, particularly those who play rugby, tend to, we're being told, are when they do things, there are no consequences for those actions. So I also just want to point out, though, that some serious work needs to go into Milnerton, certainly. But I also want to say that, Justice South Africa, our organization, for the past few months, we have been traveling the entire country. And we have, I think we've trained over 7,000 students, particularly on this topic of violence in schools and emotional and physical abuse in schools. It's not surprising. We're the gender-based violence capital of the world. So what are we teaching our kids? And our kids in our schools are practicing what they see around them. And we are seeing a massive spike in violence, student to teacher, but also student to each other. I'm thinking of the amount of schools that we get calls from where there is stabbings of students, actual knife fights in the courtyards, where we have students who are so scared to go to school that they've stopped going to school. I had one young person say to me, I used to be scared of walking to school. Yeah. Now I'm scared of being in school. And that is just not acceptable. So I think we need to look at ourselves as a country. We need to look at the roots of why are we such a violent country? Why is it that the first thing that our young people think when they disagree with someone is let's fight, let's actually engage in some form of abuse? They're seeing that somewhere. And I think us as adults, we need to take responsibility for this. We need to stop covering up for our kids. We need to stand up, like everyone else was saying. No, we need to stand up and say, oh my word, I've clearly not done a great job here. I apologize. I'm going to try to fix this. I need to do what I can to try and make sure that my child doesn't become a perpetrator.
Jessica.
But I must say it's across so many schools. It's across so many races. And I do think we need to be significantly stricter. Enough with this word bullying. Our children are becoming abusers, and that has to end. We need to lead better.
Jessica, very quickly, I don't want us to be insensitive towards a victim. I'd like for us and the viewers to know whether you're aware of the condition of this boy who is a cancer survivor. He's just recovered from cancer. Do we know what his condition is tonight?
I'm not sure about this evening, but I heard from one of our colleagues this afternoon that he met with the parents at the police station as they were laying charges. Apparently, the child was understandably very, very traumatized by this entire incident. I heard there were other students there also opening cases. So I think this is something that it's massively impacted these young people. Right. And how we expect him to continue to go to school and feel safe, I don't know how we can expect that. But I did hear that some people felt pressured not to open cases. But ultimately, my colleague has told me that the family went, they've opened the case, the child is traumatized, but they want to do what they can to make sure that this stops.
Khalid, let's come to you, because you have said really words that I should not be getting my feelings involved here as a neutral person, but I'm a parent myself. You said if the parents of these 8 boys do not come forward and show humanity, then something has got to be done. What is it that should be done? Either to encourage them to come forward and show basic humanity, or perhaps take this drastic step, as the family of this young boy has done, to actually go and lay criminal charges?
Well, certainly. Look, I think firstly we welcome the fact that the family of the young boy, and assisted by activists, because the school did not assist. The school has tried to mislead the public in the latest letter that has gone out, in which it said that it has been providing support to the victim and the victim's family. It has not. It was activists that had to go and assist and go with the family to actually go and lay the criminal charges. So just to put that on record. No, most certainly, look, I think ours is to firstly call upon the conscience of these parents. I think that's what's important. Surely there must be a conscience. And parents elected, and this speaks, I think Joy raised it earlier, the honorable chairperson of the portfolio committee, that this speaks to a systemic problem regarding education in the province and the education department. The school governing body, what is the link? It makes one question, what is the link between the governing body and parents? Because surely the school governing body, elected by those very parents, should be the ones who actually engage those parents and say, listen, we represent you. We are your voice, but now we are urging you as your voice to actually listen to your voice of to listen to your voice of conscience and to come forward. I think that's what we don't want to get now into penal issues and say, no, let's go and punish the parents, let's isolate. That's also not a way in which we want to do things.
Yeah.
But we need to speak to the conscience. And I think forums such as these, media, putting this on the media becomes very, very important. We're going to apply that type of pressure. Even when we apply pressure on the department, like the portfolio committee is doing, going to the school, we're going to be taking the fight up in the chamber, because I know the department in the Western Cape will not let our standing committee go to the school. They will block it. But at least the national can go, but we will apply that type of pressure. And that's what's important, because we want to speak to the conscience of those parents. And again, we're making the school, if they are watching, please come forward.
All right. Let's quickly give Joy the last few bites before we hand over to sports. Joy, I think it would be remiss of me not to be aware that Khalid comes from the ANC in the Western Cape. Yes, he sits on the opposition benches. And so I don't want us to sit here and bash the Western Cape Education Department and say they behave in a particular fashion, as if issues such as what we are seeing do not happen elsewhere. Many of those incidents have happened in the province of Gauteng, where I am. So nationwide, would you agree that we have the same problem, and therefore there has to be uniformity if an anti-bullying policy is to be spread out to all of the schools? All right, Joy, I'm told, is frozen, and I'm sad, but we're going to have to leave the conversation there because she is unable to talk to us then. And that's where we're going to leave the conversation, but we can't do that without telling you that we did make the effort to invite the Western Cape Education Department, and that's the reason I have the phone on my hand right now, and the team sharing that message from an official that spoke to us. And the message was, hi, the minister cannot comment on the process as he is the appeal authority in disciplinary matters. I am commenting on behalf of the Western Cape Education Department. I am not available tonight, but can do interviews between 11:30 and 2:30 today. I suppose they could have been or would have been available today, but perhaps the focus was on the ad hoc committee, so I don't want to be unfair to the Western Cape Education Department, but that is the response that we have received.